technical difficulties with the camera, but we're back with Manuel Delgado, and he was telling me about, we were talking a little bit about the Black Panthers and Richard Aoki, and how the Black Panthers were, they seemed to be a nationalistic group, but they were more of a socialist group. And they sold the Red Book, right? The Mao Red Book?
Oh, yeah. The Black Panthers, that's how they make their money, by selling the... I still have my copy of the little Red Book.
The original one, huh?
Anyway, but Richard Aoki was one of the groups within the Third World that kept his eye on the blacks to make sure they didn't get too nationalistic.
Yeah.
You know, I use a great friend. I always like to say that if I ever die, I want to come back as Richard Aoki.
Well, I mean, believe it or not, I've actually heard of you before this, and I heard of Isidro Macias, because, like I said, I've been working on my own project about the history of Chicanos in Oakland and also on the Bay Area because it hasn't been written. And to me, one big inspiration about you is that you actually wrote something about Chicanos in the Bay, because it is sad that the Chicano movement and our influence in this area hasn't been written about. I always thought that was weird. But can you elaborate to me? How was basically the Chicano movement at UC Berkeley back in the 60s, and how it basically affected and brought change to Berkeley, you know, during the 60s, which is something you never hear about. Matter of fact, they didn't even talk about the Third World Liberation Strike in the famous documentary Berkeley of the 60s. Completely ignored it. Completely.
Except for 1 minute showing me getting arrested.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, so watch
I have it at home. I'll watch it again.
Just before people party, you'll see somebody getting beat up. That's me. This is a local legend.
Oh yeah.
But basically, back to the question I was asking you. How did the Chicano movement affect UC Berkeley at that time, and what kind of changes did you guys bring to the campus?
We were the Chicanos were the first radical minority group on campus. The blacks were already there, but they really hadn't done anything radical. It was the Chicanos that were the first radicals, and it awakened the campus community to support minorities.
Oh, that's good.
So I think we had a big impact on that.
Were you there when like all the People's Park riots happened and all that stuff went down?
Yeah.
You were there when all that happened, huh? Yeah. So how does it feel to be back in the Bay Area after so many years? Back in Berkeley, Oakland.
I like it. I want to move back. I mean, just the ambiente. I mean,
El ambiente. It's more political, huh?
It seems more political,
Yeah.
more restaurants, more gente.
Yeah.
And I really miss the Bay Area.
And also, I know you worked with Frente, and they did a lot of community organizing in my barrio, in the Fruitvale area of East Oakland, where I grew up.
Yeah.
Oh, can you tell me a little bit of what was going on with Chicanos in the Fruitvale area and the work you guys did in that barrio?
Okay, we students of Berkeley, right after the strike, there was a big debate whether the courses in Chicano studies should be academic or whether we should go into the community and help transform the community. And there was a big debate about that, and I lost that debate. So I and a few others of my friends went into Fruitvale. We went to Jenkotown. We started an organization, Frente, there. And over the next 6 years, young people from the Fruitvale area, they all went to visit the Casa Joaquin Murrieta in Berkeley. And a lot of the people actually decided to go on to college. So I think we had a big impact. But let me tell you, the kids in Oakland were already radicalized.
Were they? Yeah, because I did do a little research about the Fruitvale area in the 60s, and believe it or not, they had a chapter of the Brown Berets. They had another organization called the Chicano Revolutionary Party. They had, La Clínica de la Raza. They had, the Unity Council and all those organizations. Did you work with any of those organizations like Brown Berets or Chicano Revolutionary Party?
The Unity Council. No, the Brown Berets was a pretty small group at the time. They really weren't doing that much. But they would show up at all our events.
Yeah. What about the CRP? Do you remember them? Chicano Revolutionary Party?
They were really deep. They were hard to get along with.
You know what? You're not the first person to tell me that. I heard they were they were socialists, but they were very...
Nobody was radical enough for them.
Yeah.
It was hard to really work for them.
I heard actually they got a lot of shit from the Oakland police at that time. They accused them of all things like blowing up cars, and I heard they accused them of a lot of different things in the Fruitvale area.
Yeah. That part I don't remember.
But
But just to give an example, when Nixon invaded Cambodia, we sent out word to all the high schools, and we got buses from the university, went to the high school staging areas. About 4,000 students walked out of the Oakland public schools to protest the war.
oh yeah, I've heard about that. They marched to a movie theater, right? I think it was the Fairfax Theater or something like that.
Theater, exactly. And then from there we marched all the way down to the induction center and banged on their door and sang songs outside.
Yeah.
No, the Oakland community has always been
Down.
pretty radical.
Except now, man, the Oakland community is kind of not as what it used to be. I wish the Fruitvale community would get more radicalized than it was in the 60s. And it's grown a lot.
But it's like that everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to talk some
Okay.
business with
Well,
him.
thanks for doing this interview, Manuel, and
You should check.
good to meet you.
Okay.
And la lucha sigue.
Okay, I'm glad to finally admit you.
All right, man.